decade that was.
You like that preview monitor?
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Hey, all right. The chat is waiting for new messages. Hi, everybody. I'm going to go into my mail. Because right here, yes, that's right. TheOneRing.net was live. We are live. Welcome to the live broadcast. Are we live? That's very good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the chat. And welcome to the OneRing.net. Starting late, but better late than never. It is TORnTuesday. Hello, everybody. TORN is our loving and familiar acronym for the OneRing.net, the world's biggest and most comprehensive web portal for all J.R.R. Tolkien fans, you fans of the Silmarillion and the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, and the great scholarship and erudition of Professor Tolkien, for those fans who love languages, great mythologies, great storytelling, as much as we get a kick out of other aspects of fandom and how much they keep, learning from the best. I know, really, it's true. Good to see you, Connor. How are you, sir? Good, I'm good. Hello, my name is Clifford Broadway, and I'm broadcasting to you live from the heart of geekdom here in Hollywood. This is Scum and Villainy Cantina. If you are a fan of The Mandalorian, if you've got your, I did. I paid the $69.99 for my annual Disney Plus. Did you do that too, JC? Did you sign up?
I bought it when it was like that crazy sale.
So you got the 3-year deal.
So I got the 3-year deal for like $150, I think.
The 3-year deal for $150. That's right. Isn't that a kick in the pants? See, I ended up paying $70 for 1 year. Nah. Anyways. Now I can see what everyone's looking at. Oh, look, that monitor's great. There's the OneRing.net main page. There's our website. And, oh my gosh, it is so good to see everyone here. Is there anyone in the chat? Yeah, where's the chat? What's going on here? Oh, hi. Hey, there's Andrew. Andrew, hi. Yes. Welcome. We are talking to the whole wide world live on the following platforms. We're on Twitter live, Facebook live, YouTube live, Periscope, Twitch, and Bilbo's pipe is for sale. Do you believe that? Okay, yes, this is really happening. I'm going to open up my web browser so I can look at the same thing that you guys are looking at. Hello, I'm Clifford Broadway. Once again, welcome to The One Ring. And on TORnTuesday, we celebrate our fandom. We talk about so many things of great interest. And we have a nice little short version of the show for you. Welcome to the chat, Andrew. Good to see you here. I had just been gone for 2 weeks. My absence was noted by Justin and everyone. I guess you all know I have put all that out there on my social media. Hi, Eravandi. Good to see you. My dad, he was in the hospital, so I went back to Orlando, and I was there in Florida for a while to take good care of him while he was, thoroughly in this recovery process. Let me tell you, it was a lot. It's a lot. My dad, he's very brave. And he's a very prayerful man. It's really nice to have heard my dad, expound on his faith so lovingly. So while I was at his bedside in the hospital, I was trying to take care of my dad for a while, and he's doing better, and now he's been moved out of the hospital and into a rehabilitation center where he can learn to talk and walk and brush his teeth and operate machinery and actually get back to physical mobility so he could get back to living his best life. Dad, I'm thinking of you. And I know he's still, fighting off the pain and getting rid of that infection. So anyways, I'm back. Here I am back in Los Angeles. Lots of excitement. Hello, good to see you, sir. And welcome back, Scum and Villainy. And thank you, Justin, for doing a couple of shows with our friend Crystal. Was she with you? Is that right? Holding down the fort. Thank you, guys. I want to say, while I was gone, you guys had a good couple of chats. The new technical jiggery-pokery that's going on involves Justin being off screen. He's not even going to stand out here and help me. Come here. You going to help me? Going to talk to these people on the show? He's back there. He's literally on the roof hanging up solar panels and secret transmitters that pick up Tesla wavelengths. He's setting up Tesla coils in the back room, the whole thing. So that's what he's doing. Imagine, if you can, the chicanery. Justin's he'll be on screen in a few minutes just to say hi to everybody. But I'm glad to be here too, folks. Let's look back on what is really now the end. Before we get into holiday mode, which is going to be, starting next week, we start doing some of our holiday programming and get more news and information about what's happening with Amazon. We do have a brief news update for people who want to know what Amazon Prime is doing with our favorite Middle-earth property down there in New Zealand. We do have a brief update, and then we'll talk about, the end of 2019 means that in just a month, in less than a month, we will begin a new decade of Tolkien fandom with new merchandise, new games, and a whole new, high-level, very expensive show. 2 seasons now. Okay, that's the news. We might as well say, you've all read this on Twitter, you've read it online, but let's look back at this news, shall we? They finished a couple of episodes filming this new Middle-earth show set in the second age of Middle-earth. And then they had a holiday break. Then the news on the same day was, not only are they taking a hiatus from shooting, green light approval comes from the powers that be at Amazon Studios. And Amazon says, you get a second season, guys. We're going to green light this and go right ahead with this. And yes, thank you, Orion's Angel. Orion's Angel, you're very kind. Thank you for that. Now, Andrew, here's news. He says this is bad news for Middle-earth gamers, especially tabletop gamers. Cubicle 7 has split with Sophisticated Games, bringing an end to the One Ring RPG and adventures in Middle-earth, at least for now. Oh, that's lame. That's lame. That means that these 2 companies had a split. Let me imagine. How much more complicated does life have to be when there's more than one license holder? Imagine, there's two license holders. Okay, thank you, Gollum. I see you. I see you. I see the Gollum face. That's fun. Yeah, I look left. Very good. That's very cute. That is bad news. However, there are more expansions to look forward to coming from Fantasy Flight Games, who have that extraordinary Journeys in Middle-earth. Now, that's not a deep, granular RPG. It's more like a much lighter, introductory version of an RPG with skill cards that are used instead of power dice for skills and abilities. It's very cool game design. I love it. So, I have that to look forward to. I'm a deep player of Journeys in Middle-earth, and I cannot wait for more expansions and more adventures to come. And yes, I'm a little soft tonight. Yeah, it says the volume was a little soft tonight, and his volume is turned all the way up. Okay, SG holds the license. C7 was partnered with them. Yes, okay. Well, don't worry. It won't be long before somebody figures out that business because, somebody is going to make a lot of money off of those Middle-earth games. And now I'm a lot louder here inside the cantina, Justin. So let's get the volume figured out. Hi, am I blowing your eardrums out, Connor? Okay. I'm going to bring my voice down to that deep, sonorous, deep, See if we can bring that level of energy. Now, they're fixing all the microphone stuff, and I apologize to the podcast listeners. I'm sure there was a jump in the audio just now. They are figuring out some new connections and calibrations back there. Now, looking back on the other piece of news, not only did Amazon say, you have a green light, you're going to get a whole second season, but the writers in the writers' room are on a little mini break, and then they're going to come back and go right back to work, continuing with episodes 3, 4, 5, 6, however many they are in the first season. Questions that we do not know the answers to. We don't know what storyline they're entering in at yet. We don't know what the entry point in the narrative will be relative to sub-characters who are way off the main stage of the bigger players that we know, like Galadriel and Celeborn and Elrond, his twin brother Elros, Celebrimbor. We're talking about people who have, and even Círdan, the shipwright, these great elves, these elven lords who are so important to these chapters in the Second Age. We don't even know if the story will begin hundreds of years after the founding of Numenor, or at the very beginning, where Numenor is just being gifted, and Elros chooses mortal life, while Elrond, his twin brother, chooses the immortality of the Eldar. We don't know where the narrative entry will begin, but we do know that they're 2 episodes into this process. And then, after they take their break, we're going to look for more spy reports and leaked information to come through to us when they get back down there. Because the next headline a few days later was the Spanish director J.A. Bayona arriving down in Auckland. He's flying down there to New Zealand. Time to get to work. He's going to start directing and working on getting these materials together. It's really happening, folks. It is really, really happening. Amazon is going forward, and we don't know anything about it beyond the weird clues on that map. Anyways, so that's the news. That's the news brief. And maybe, since I was going to do a little top 10 breakdown of the biggest events that have happened in all of Tolkien fandom over the past 10 years, I would say that's obviously one of the biggest ones, this experience of Amazon making a show. But further to that, let's take a look at some of the other big events. And, oh my gosh, I just got an email from Roy Tolkien. I just got an email from J.R.R. Tolkien's great-grandson. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is so nice to hear from him. Oh, wow. Yes, of course. Guess what? You know what? I've got news, breaking news, just right now. I got an email from Roy Tolkien, who has made a really, really wonderful documentary film about the life of his late brother. And it is called There's a Hole in My Bucket. I'm so excited. He's sending me stuff. I can't divulge all the secrets, but you know what? There's something that we're going to do. I promise you, we're going to do something very special with Roy Tolkien and his film. It's going to be a wonderful experience. That's great. That's great stuff. Now hold on. Okay, where is that? Oh, hold on. 10 biggest Tolkien moments of the decade. Okay. All right. Here we go. Now, let's go back. Let's go back. The Hobbit was something that we weren't even sure was going to be made yet. Do you know that? We did not even know that The Hobbit was going to be made yet. Now, I'm quite curious. You folks have to bear with me for just a moment, please. If that's not one of the biggest things of the decade, the top 2 pieces of news from the year 2010 to the end of 2019 would be, hello, we've hired Guillermo del Toro. Peter Jackson is producing. They're all going down to New Zealand, and they're going to make 2 Hobbit films. Remember that? That was the original announcement, guys. It was not a trilogy. You do remember that, don't you? That it was like just going to be 2 Hobbit films. Just 2. That was huge. That was huge, huge, huge news. And now here we are at a different position where they're threatening to do 4 or 5 seasons. Look at this. The Hobbit had not been made into a movie since 1977. Keep that in mind. It was 1977. And The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey was released in December of 2012. Okay? So one of the biggest things that happened in the decade was the energy of the fan base. At theonering.net, we had a whole thing called Make the Hobbit Happen. We did a whole campaign to make The Hobbit happen, and we pushed and pushed and pushed. It was a huge petition. It was an online phenomenon. And then Martin Freeman was cast as Bilbo Baggins, and then everything was just perfect. And Ian McKellen said, I'm coming back to play Gandalf. And everything was really perfect. And so Cate Blanchett and Christopher Lee and Hugo Weaving, they were all joining to come back to Middle-earth. That was one of the biggest things that started our decade with a smile, didn't it? Don't you think? Because originally the Lord of the Rings trilogy had been released through the years 2001 to 2003, right? With the exception being released a year later. So we had been waiting for 7 years. It was 7 or maybe 7.5 years before we suddenly got confirmation that we were all going back to New Zealand and going back to Middle-earth. Okay? So this was in the year 2010 when that happened. All right? It's the big, big chunk of things. I'm so excited to say this was a significant decade for Lord of the Rings and Tolkien fans and Hobbit fans. Then there was The Hobbit went from 2 films to 3 films. We broke that news interviewing Peter Jackson on the walking carpet behind the hallway of Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. It was the San Diego Comic-Con explosion of news. That was when Peter let leak for the first time that the 2 films was going to become 3. That was just so fantastic. But that was after the 2012 release of An Unexpected Journey. We had, we actually in 2010 we were at a panel. We demanded that Martin Freeman. We were so adamant that it couldn't be James McAvoy. It had to be Martin Freeman. We demanded Martin Freeman, and he was cast. It was so fantastic. Okay. Then, on the publishing side of things, it got much more interesting. All right, the stuff with the Hobbit films, we'll get back to that drama in just a minute. Please don't let me forget to mention these wonderful posthumous publications that came out in this past decade. The Fall of Gondolin, finally published. Fantastic. And on top of that, Beren and Luthien was also published posthumously. And then the huge blowout announcement that Christopher Tolkien, who had been the caretaker and very careful guardian of his father's legacy, he would retire. His retirement obviously meant that things were going to be seismically shifted in the Tolkien world by that announcement only. We've had a big decade, people. This has been like mind-blowing. Christopher Tolkien working on the last of his father's manuscripts to publish the achingly beautiful and contextualized further forms of Beren and Luthien, to have a much bigger picture of how that story was created and ended up in its familiar form in the Silmarillion. But Beren and Luthien, The Fall of Gondolin, and then Kalervo was also published. And then Christopher Tolkien says, good night and good luck. And he steps off the stage. Mind blown. Mind blown. That means that Simon Tolkien and the other grandkids are suddenly in charge of the farm. And then a whole new deal gets struck. The whole set of paperwork that they'd been working with from the 1960s and the 1970s, which was the earlier deal with Saul Zaentz. That's the old deal. Here's the new deal now. New terms, new ideas. That means new games, new merchandise. That's why all the new Funko Pops have just been appearing, taking the world by storm. All these Lord of the Rings Funko Pops, including this new Gandalf the White that was just announced this past week. And most importantly of all, most seismic of all, the news that the rights to the back pages of The Return of the King. Yes, the appendices at the back of The Return of the King would be licensed to Amazon Studios, ready to just go through any amount of money. They are knee-deep, neck deep in this insane amount of money. Netflix said, no, we don't want to make that deal. HBO also, contrary to conventional wisdom, they said no to the Tolkien estate. You guys have to keep in mind, this would never have happened except for Christopher retiring and saying, do what thou wilt. And Amazon got the rights because of that change. And here we are. They're in production right now, doing God knows what to the story. Yes, so it's been quite a decade. Now, back to the Hobbit trilogy. And the way that the Hobbit films were received, I get an overall sense that An Unexpected Journey was maybe given, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, most fans would embrace An Unexpected Journey at an 8, maybe an 8, maybe a 7.5, maybe an 8, maybe, most fans. And then there's a big downgrade to The Desolation of Smaug and to The Battle of the Five Armies, where fans would rate the film, you know, a 6 or whatever, or less, because some fans are really not happy with it. Me, I liked most of it, but we have to think about the Hobbit that never was, because Guillermo del Toro suddenly, after many delays that amounted to years of painful delay on production, he had to leave his job and step down as director. And then Peter Jackson came in, and as you know, 2 films became 3. And then, much to my surprise, or maybe not, but maybe this is just the last cynical nail that gets hit on the head. By the time The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, had exhausted all energy out of ringers and the cinematic appetite for Middle-earth, it was a year later that Peter Jackson released an R-rated version of The Hobbit. That was another really significant surprise that happened in this decade. Something that I would never have ever freaking thought. A gentle, really gentle, beautiful, episodic children's story is all of a sudden a freaking R-rated bloodfest. With it was like Mad Max Fury Road, with them riding that chariot and all those blood blades on the outside of the chariot wheels, dismembering all those orcs and trolls, and nothing but body parts flying across the screen. And you're like, what happened to that gentle, idyllic, golden-hued fairy tale of The Hobbit? What happened? It all of a sudden went from An Unexpected Journey, which had all that charm and all that whimsy, and it went to being the R-rated Battle of the Five Armies. And by the end, I felt like I was watching Fury Road. A Mad Max movie is what happened. And the real pisser, at the end of the day, Thorin's funeral was not, spoilers from 1937, sorry, Thorin's funeral was cut from the theatrical version. You didn't even get that until a year later in the extended version. Boy, that pissed me off. Anyways, it was queer lodgings, like when you go to visit Beorn, the skin changer, and you're reading the chapter and you're like, queer lodgings indeed. There's animals bringing in trays of food and butter and bread and mead and honey, and there's giant bumblebees the size of grapefruit, especially if you're a hobbit. And my gosh, Beorn, wonderfully portrayed. He didn't even get to do any battling in the Battle of the Five Armies at all. He shows up for 7 or 8 seconds. I counted it. We did this on a show a long time ago. Do you remember this, Connor? We're like, all the things that are wrong with The Hobbit. And then we did another episode, which was all the things that are right with The Hobbit. But one of the big things that was wrong was that Beorn is this giant bear monster, and he only gets 7 seconds of swathing through legions of armored orcs. And then he's off screen, and you do not see him again. You don't even get to see him rip some shit up. And he said, hello, it's Beorn. Come on, Peter Jackson. You're the guy who gave us a 3-hour King Kong with all those creatures and insects and dinosaurs and crazy monsters, and you can't give me more than 7 seconds of Beorn in beast mode. What is up with that? Anyways, so yeah, The Hobbit, pretty much as a trilogy, yeah, make that face, Gollum. Go ahead and make that face, Gollum. Keep making that face. I'm telling you, the law of diminishing returns is all I have to say about that. Anyways, it was a big decade. We did get, for better or for worse, we did get the Hobbit trilogy. We lost Guillermo del Toro. We got brand new books that were published. Extraordinary, very important volumes. And then we got the shock and surprise of Christopher Tolkien stepping down from his position. And then Amazon saying, here's our commitment, 1 billion. Can I put my little pinky on the edge of my lip? $1 billion. It's $1 billion. Now, rumors are that it's up to $3 billion now, with the ongoing commitment being extended. And by the very fact that Amazon as a company makes $1 billion every time they sneeze, so it's like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Another incredibly good highlight, a wonderful highlight of the decade, in addition to all this other stuff, was a beautiful cinematic rendition of the life of J.R.R. Tolkien, directed by Dome Korakowski and released by Fox Searchlight. It was called, appropriately, Tolkien. And it was so lovely. I am crying again, because that movie kills me. I'm dead. Every time that movie just beats the drum of compassion and Tolkien-ishness. There is so much real, genuine Tolkien-ishness to the feeling and the music, the beautiful music, and the romance between Edith Bratt and John Ronald Tolkien. Yes, that was another big thing this decade. We had Dome Korakowski bring his very poetic interpretation and beautiful, like a beautiful little memory box unfolding of Tolkien's life. Beautiful. So hey, like count all the great stuff that we have had in the past 10 years. There was many lawsuits were settled. Lawsuits were settled. People got paid who had not been getting paid. You know what I mean? And can I humbly suggest, thanks to Garfe Mao, I'm so glad that she suggested that, one of our staff contributors, Kathy, let me remind you that we, theonering.net, achieved our 20-year anniversary. Yes, here at theonering.net, this incredible, comfortable living room and fireplace, which is what we have here. It's like you have been welcoming me into your living room as a writer for 20 years. Isn't that mind-blowing? You guys have been so kind and so supportive for all these wonderful folks who volunteer their time and their effort to create an all-volunteer organization just for the passionate Ringer fans out there. The message boards, the ever-engaging Barlaman's chat. Yes, there's a Barlaman's chat. It still runs on IRC. It's great fun. And the new community groups we have on other platforms. Thank you for being with us for 20 years at theonering.net. Yes. Yeah, that's right, Eravandi. The music, babe. The music. Okay. Now, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to go look at some of these chats because you guys are chatting up a storm. Are you guys chatting up a storm? I think you are. I'm going to try to swing up there and say, here it is. Hard to believe that 10 years ago, says Eravandi, I wasn't even a Tolkien fan. I didn't join the fandom until 2013. Welcome. Welcome back. Hey, Will, I am Bo. The 4 Hobbits are doing 5 cons in 2020. Hey, now, how about that? That's a lot. That's a lot of conventions. Oh, and you met Peter and Philippa last year, got you going full speed again on your passion for Lord of the Rings. Yes, sir. Yes, Will, that's very good stuff. The short stories and the music by Tom and Martin Fury, Nam Van Huang, are outstanding. I love how they have taken J.R.R. Tolkien world and made their own style fantastic. Hope they get a guest appearance. There you go. Looking forward to that. If anyone can leak the script of Del Toro, oh, dude, I would love for somebody to leak Del Toro's script. I would love that, love that, love that. Andrew says that some of Game of Thrones development art was included in an interview with him from a few years back in the New Yorker. Yeah, I think so. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Yes, I see you. Iravandi says that there are some added scenes in Battle of the Five Armies, extended edition, that I wouldn't give up. But yeah, during some of those battle scenes, I didn't look up from my crochet for a few minutes. Yes. In 2021, maybe the cast will reunite for the 20th anniversary at a Ringer event. You know what? We might as well start the new decade off with a bang. I agree with that idea. In 2021, we really could. Hey, you know, we just had that 20th anniversary show of the beginning of filming of principal photography. You guys saw that here about a month ago, right? Remember that? We had Oscar winner Jim Rigel. Hello, Black Sauce Noodles. Nice to see you again here. Good to see you. Oh, GDT. You meant Guillermo del Toro. That's what you meant. Yeah, I follow you. That was a little typo. So, yes. Anyways, we had Jim Rigel. We had Mark Ordesky. We had Sala Baker. There was, and you know, all these wonderful people. Michael Pellerin. And there was, wait a minute. Oh my gosh. Who else was there? There was Sean Astin. He was on Skype right here on a little monitor. And I had everybody here. Rick Baker. Oh my gosh. It was an outstanding show. Wasn't that a great show, Justin? Our 20th anniversary that we had right here at Scum and Villainy Cantina. All those people lined up. It was my best panel in forever and ever and ever. Oh my gosh, it was a great panel. Hello, how you doing? Am I looking at that over there?
Do you think the memory is too fresh on it?
Memory's too fresh?
Yeah.
What memory?
Of that show.
No, I mean,
Too much weight?
no, I think it's fantastic. Oh, it was not a typo. I had a brain fart. Well, Andrew, it's not the first time. It is not the first time that I've had, you know, a tablespoon of air coming out of my brain. That's just, don't laugh, Connor, it's true. Okay, I'm telling you, it was a fantastic decade. We went through the surprising news that after 7.5 or 8 years after the resounding success of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, we began the decade, I guess you'd call them the teens, the 20-teens. We started off with news of The Hobbit, and then we lost our director, Del Toro. 2 films became 3 at the capable hands of Peter Jackson. Indulgences were on full display in the Hobbit trilogy. New books were published, outstanding volumes. There was a distinct seismic shift in the publication world where J.R.R. Tolkien scholarship is concerned, and that was the retirement of Christopher Tolkien. There was the arrival of the life story of J.R.R. Tolkien himself, played by Nicholas Hoult, and also starring Lily Collins and Colm Meaney, and the irresistible Derek Jacobi. Check it out if you haven't got your copy. Hey, by the way, that's an excellent, excellent stocking stuffer for any Ringer fan, is to get them a copy of Tolkien, the movie. I love that. And, you know, little did we know that we would get Kullervo and Beren and Luthien, and also The Fall of Gondolin, posthumously published. And I'm telling you...
What was the big deal about that book?
Are you kidding? It's like one of Tolkien's most powerful stories. And here was a recasting of it with fresh eyes as Christopher Tolkien navigated through lots and lots of unpublished manuscripts where we could see the ideas begin and then the ideas change as the story of Beren and Luthien becomes fully formed. Such a fantastic thing. It's wonderful. I need not explain to you, oh, Justin, the literary one, the importance of those publications. And then there was the news of Amazon throwing down $1 billion on the second age of Middle-earth. Now, we made a lot of noise on the OneRing.net that the first season of this TV series that Amazon was about to endeavor to do was going to be hashtag Young Aragorn. Remember when we broke the news that it was going to be Young Aragorn? Well, that was true at the time. I just want you guys to know that. At the time, all the post-production houses, designers, creature designers, illustrators were being told, give us your pitch package. Amazon wants to look at your stuff. It has to be Young Aragorn stuff. So that's what was going on. People were getting their wires crossed much later on, perhaps because there's something mercurial in the creative process. You know what I mean? Maybe they had ideas that Young Aragorn would be one place to start, and then after sitting in the writer's room for a few days, they decided to rethink it. And they went to the Tolkien estate, and they got permission, because there's extra pieces of the legal deal that get signed by extension. When they propose that, the Tolkien estate can say, no, veto that. Or they can say, yes, do that. So at some point in the process, hashtag Young Aragorn became hashtag the second age. And now we know, only from that little map that they put up on their Twitter feed, which incidentally is LOTR on Prime, that was when Amazon clued us in that it's going to be the second age, not the third age where young Aragorn would have lived. But don't be surprised that there might be a spin-off series. There's a lot of other interests in this. There's not just one monolithic TV show. That's not what it is. It's not one single thing. It's a pyramid, folks. At the top of the pyramid is this huge, expensive, billion-dollar undertaking. But then there's auxiliary stuff. There's extra shows on the side. There's spin-off series on the side. Get it? You know, the Star Wars films are the Star Wars films. But over here on the side is The Mandalorian. Over here on this piece of the pyramid is Star Wars The Clone Wars, which wonderfully is coming back to production. They will have more animated Star Wars. So you get it now. So it is still quite possible, and we might learn more this coming decade, that young Aragorn might still be a thing. Who knows? They paid for it. They've got the license, and that would be money well spent to have, you know, maybe their approach to doing Middle-earth will be an anthology series. And if they do 5 seasons, they might jump ahead or jump backward in time anywhere they need to go or anywhere they want to go. I guess we don't know. We'll find out when we get there, right? Right. We're talking about so much stuff. There's lots of thousands of years between the time when the Eldar arrived in, you know, Linden and built the Grey Havens, you know, way before Rivendell existed, way before Lothlorien existed, before Balin and the other dwarves attempted to leave Erebor and go and reclaim the mines of Moria. Thousands of years in between all these chock-a-block pieces of narrative. We don't know what's going to happen yet, but there is so much to look forward to, isn't there? They paid for it. So I expect we're going to get some good stuff, I hope. But then again, we don't know yet. They have not been forthcoming, and most notably, Amazon Studios has not engaged with the fan base, with us, with talking to the community. If they want to come around, and Jennifer Salke, you've been invited to be on our show dozens of times. I've got a hot seat for you right here. It still smells like Mark Ordesky. I do. I've got a, come on. You can sit in Mark's seat, Jennifer, and we'll talk. We'll talk all good Lord of the Rings stuff. Mr. Bayona, when you're done working and you fly back from New Zealand and come back to LA, I'd love to have you on the show. Let's talk about what it's like directing the Second Age. Let's do that. Oh, yeah, and then there's Angmar. Yes, that's right, Andrew. Thank you very much. There's all the good stuff about the founding of Gondor. After the downfall of Numenor, after the creation of the Rings of Power, there's all the other stuff centuries later with the founding of Gondor and Arnor, the kingdoms of the north. Man, they have a lot of narrative field to cover. Well, a lot to look forward to in the coming decade. And you know what? We're going to get very, very close to the end of our show. But before we end the show at 6 o'clock, you know what? I say we should go have gossip at the Green Dragon Inn. Hey, Justin, you want to get on the microphone with me and we'll gossip about pop culture for a couple of minutes here at the end of the show? Mm-hmm. Nope, he says. Nope, he says. He should come on the... Hey, guys, don't you think Justin should come and help me sign off the show? I'm going to gossip about Neil Gaiman's announcement that this incredible comic book series, The Sandman, these are my classic issues of The Sandman from the early 90s. This is a beautiful, extraordinary comic book series that deals with a family of godlike beings who govern everything in human existence. Take a look. Don't be shy. These were illustrated by my dear friend Jill Thompson, who we interviewed in Ringer's Lord of the Fans. So cool. This comic book series is now coming to Netflix. Very excited about that. And one more good thing. I mean, these are the best books. These books are so insane. These are like original from like, what year is this? 92? 93. February 93 when these books came out. Absolutely brilliant. So guess what I've got? I've got other good news. Did I tell you guys that not only is my dad doing better and he's out of the hospital and in a rehabilitation center, but guess what? I'm making a little indie film. Actually, I made one before. We made a documentary called Ringer's Lord of the Fans. I think that should also be considered a big highlight of the decade of the 20-teens. Hey, Connor, can I borrow your capable hands for a moment? We're going to unspool this poster. You hold the bottom corners for me? Ladies and gentlemen, here's Connor. And this is our camera over there. Look at this. You see this great poster? We only have a few of these left on Earth, and we're offering them as perks for our new indie film, Going Live, which is a really cool black comedy, which is really kind of punchy and funny, talking about internet surveillance and our smart devices listening to us and watching us when they should not be. But look at this great Ringers poster. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick this. You see this? This film was a little documentary film that we made. It was narrated by Dominic Monaghan, who you know plays Meriadoc Brandybuck, and now he's the host on BBC's excellent wildlife conservation series, Wild Things with Dominic Monaghan. And if you want to get one of these posters signed by the filmmakers autographed by Carlene Cordova and yours truly, Clifford Broadway. I wrote this film with her. I wrote this movie. I produced this movie. I'm very proud of it. We took it to Slam Dance. We won the Audience Award. It was a tie. Us and another film tied for the Audience Award. And then we got a pickup deal with Sony Pictures Distribution. And there, if you want to get this poster, I'm going to type this in the chat. Go to Indiegogo and then type in on their search bar, Going Live. Or you can type in bit.ly, bit.ly/Going Live. And you can support indie filmmakers. I appreciate you guys so much because we made it. We made it to 100%. That's the big news. We got $70,000 fully funded for this new indie film. So people are getting very excited. We're going to be making some big casting announcements for some of the actors and actresses that we're putting in this little indie film project. This is going to be a fun experiment. But you guys, if you want to be part of the film and support it, go to bit.ly/Going Live. And you can get one of these ringer posters before they disappear off the face of the earth. There's only a dozen left, I think. And now, I believe we're near the end of the show. It's a little after 6 o'clock, isn't it? So, I'm telling you, it's a great time to be a geek. We have, for better or for worse, J.J. Abrams is about to unleash the rise of Skywalker. The Mandalorian is in episode 4 out of its first season, and hashtag Baby Yoda is all the phenomenon, all the rage. Soon, the next hashtag that's going to be causing a craze is in 2022, when Amazon Studios launches their first glimpse into Middle-earth. And then, believe you me, we're going to be on top of it. Oh my gosh, it's going to be crazy pants. Crazy pants. All right, thank you guys for being part of our show. As always, thank you for supporting me and our community. Such wonderful people. And thank you to the wonderful folks at Scum and Villainy for giving us a home, a wonderful safety cocoon where you feel all warm and fuzzy inside and have a drink and hang with your friends and oh my God, the geek stuff that's going on here. The game night that they have on Mondays, the geeky, incredibly satisfying karaoke. You guys want to come sing karaoke with me and you're in Southern California? Find me. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at QuickBeam2000. Come and sing on a Thursday night with all of us here at Scum and Villainy. It's going to be good times. Oh, hey, and now that we're fully funded at 100%, for all of you other backers who go to back my movie, Going Live, if you back it any amount, I'm going to buy you a drink, okay? Probably here. So you find me, I'm going to buy you a drink, guys. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I'm so glad to have you all with us. Chelsea Schwartz is still working very, very hard. She was not able to join us. She's going to be on a TV show. She's been working on set day after day. It's been really colorful and fun adventure for her. But she sends her love to all of you guys, and she sends her best. And she'll come back to join us for more conversations very soon. Justin, thank you, sir. And JC, thank you, everybody, for running all that technical jiggery-pokery. We're going to sign off. But before we do, a reminder. Next Tuesday, 5 o'clock. We will be right here on theonering.net, live on all these platforms. Theonering.net, forged by the fans and for the fans of J.R.R. Tolkien. My name is Clifford Broadway, signing off. Buenas noches y buena suerte.